Mike is going to speak to us today on the Makerspace that the library is currently under construction and is the coolest thing any library's done in the history of libraries. So, Mike, look forward to hearing what give us an update on that, sir.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so I'm back this week to talk to you guys again. This time about our Makerspace. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Kind of walk through a quick presentation. Joe, how much time do I have? About 10 minutes?
I mean, Mike, we're not really. Can you get it done in 20?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you run over the 10 minutes, if anyone's got to go, they'll log off.
Okay, very good. Okay, so I'm going to talk about our Makerspace project. First of all, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what a Makerspace is. So this is an example of a Makerspace in another library. Makerspaces they're collaborative workspaces where people can make things, whether it's for personal use or for business or gifts. They provide room to spread out when you may not have it, tools to get the job done, and the opportunity to network with like-minded people also making other things. So there's a number of different tools that are part of a Makerspace. Some of the tools that are the most prominent tools are 3D printers. That's on your screen in the upper left. The way that works is it melts plastic and replicates a 3D design that's created on a computer. And so with those printers, you can create pretty much just about anything you can imagine and then print it out to make it an actual physical item. Other things are vinyl cutters. So a vinyl cutter will it's almost like a printer, but it has a blade on it, and it will cut strips of vinyl to whatever design you can create on a computer. So that example there, the US veteran sticker, that's an example of something that may be cut on a vinyl cutter. Also, you can cut different materials on vinyl cutters, such as balsa wood and leather, stuff like that. The next thing on the bottom there is a laser cutter. So the laser cutters use a high-power laser to cut or etch material, and you can cut all kinds of different materials: wood, paper, plastics. You can etch glass. You can do a number of different things with it. And the example there that I'm showing on the right of your screen, the lower right, it shows the detail that is possible with a laser cutter. So that is a dime there and shows the detail cut into a piece of wood with the laser cutter. So a lot of what you can do with these tools is rapid prototyping. So there's things that, to take something from an idea to an actual physical prototype typically could take months. If you have access to something like our Makerspace, you could turn an idea into something tangible in a weekend, or a couple of hours if you're really good at it. And so there's some serious applications for business here, as well as people, hobbyists, people that are tinkerers, students. So anybody that wants to turn an idea into something tangible. And this is an example here of a company, Exo Paper Inc. It's the company is owned by a Makerspace user from another library, and she uses the laser cutter to cut out the banners out of different materials. And so she has a store on Etsy and runs her store and makes a lot of her stuff in the library Makerspace. So this is just an example of a business that is kickstarted out of a Makerspace. So this is an example of a Makerspace in another library. I believe this one is in Northbrook Library. So as you can see, just large tables, nothing too unique there, but on that back counter, you see a number of different tools and equipment that people would have access to that they normally wouldn't have access to without a substantial investment. Another unique thing about our Makerspace, because there are Makerspaces in many other libraries, but typically the Makerspaces that are in other libraries are limited to the kind of tools I've already spoken about. So the laser cutters and 3D printers and stuff like that. One of the things that's going to be unique to ours is we're going to have a kitchen. So this will help us to satisfy our community's appetite for culinary programming. Any culinary programming is usually very popular at the library. The picture on the left there shows one of our Instapot programs, very popular, but we're limited in what we can actually do at the library because we don't have a commercial kitchen or any sort of kitchen for display or programming. On the right is a demonstration kitchen, just to give an example of how that programming would differ in what we're doing versus what we could be doing. So our Makerspace is going to be built in a building that is not in our main library. So this building that you're looking at now is the original first standalone library in Arlington Heights. This was built in 1952 and used until 1968. Many of you probably know this as the Teen Center. It was a teen center for a number of years, and then it was rented out to a couple different occupants over the years. But we worked with the village. The village has graciously given us the building back, and we have kind of a partnership with them on this. And you can see above the doors there, it says Memorial Library. So we still have the sign on the front of the building showing that it's the Memorial Library. So it's kind of a very cool reuse of this building. We're going back to our roots, but building something that is really the next generation of library service. And I have a few renderings of what the space will look like. So this view is as you walk in the front door. This is similar to what you saw there a minute ago from the other libraries. So we'll have tables and chairs and a general communal workspace in the main area of the building. The room to the right there is the workshop or the equipment room. That's going to house all of the 3D printers, laser cutter, vinyl cutter, all of the equipment that's loud and smelly and stuff like that. Because the 3D printers, as they're working, they're melting plastic. So there is an odor there. And with those machines running all the time, it can be loud. So we separated all that out into another room. That room is highly ventilated. It's also insulated for noise. So that equipment can run separately. We do have a number of 3D printers. Most libraries have one or two, maybe three 3D printers. We're going to have, I think, around a dozen. So our capacity for machine time availability is much higher. So, and one of the reasons for that is because when you're printing 3D prints, they take a long time to print. So a small item, maybe something that you could fit in the palm of your hand, might take a few hours to make. So having a number of printers really helps. This is another view of the main makerspace, but then off to the left, you see the commercial kitchen. So that space is being built to commercial kitchen standards. So we will be doing demonstration programming in there. We'll have a number of tables in there where people can actually create a meal or dessert or whatever the program's about at the same time as a presenter. And then we'll also have the ability to rent that space out as for residents to be able to use the actual commercial kitchen. Did somebody have a question? Okay, here's another view of our of the kitchen. So we'll have a couple of tables there. Typical.
Terry Ennis, can you mute your, I believe. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. So this is kind of a close-up view of the kitchen. So we'll have a demonstration area if you look in the front of the room there. Well, I guess toward the back of the room from this view. That'll be kind of our demonstration island. There'll be a camera there that will show what the presenter is making, and then the people at the tables will be able to follow along. We can also modify this room and remove the tables and put in regular seating if it's just going to be a demonstration type of program as well. But this room is set up for to be able to house 16 people working on culinary delights. Okay, then downstairs, we are going to have a fine arts area. So this is on the lower level. The majority of the lower level will be this art space. And so what we're looking for here is really kind of a space that we could have programming for any sort of arts. And this could be a messy space. The floor will be quote unquote hosable, but easy to clean, tile, and have all of our supplies and workspace down there for that. And then in the middle of the space downstairs will be just kind of a lounge for people are waiting for somebody in a program, or just need some quiet space to think about a project they're working on, or maybe collaborate in a little bit different area than the working space throughout the rest of the building. On the main floor, we're also going to have another space similar to the Makerspace area with tables set up, and that will be for our sewing and other types of programming like that doesn't exactly fit in the Makerspace. We are going to have an embroidery machine and a quilting machine, and then a number of sewing machines that people could borrow and use. And then these are a few pictures that were taken. I want to say these are probably a week or so old, maybe 2 weeks old. This is the current construction that's happening over at the building. So we're through the demolition phase, and we are starting on HVAC, electrical, plumbing, all that kind of stuff. So we removed there was a drywall ceiling there, and all that wood was covered up. We're going to leave all that exposed and probably paint it all black. And then, it has real tall ceiling in the middle, and then on either side, this is going to be the kitchen. So that ceiling will not be exposed. It'll be a drop ceiling that will conform to the restaurant or commercial kitchen standards. And this is just the kitchen with the HVAC going in. So it doesn't look like much right now, but it is coming together. So we are projecting to open this summer. We're hoping maybe end of July, early August to open. Our initial hours of operation are going to be Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 8, and then we'll be open Saturday, 10 to 5, and Sunday, 12 to 5. We're going to be closed Monday and Friday, but we'll utilize that time to allow for use of the kitchen or other spaces in the Makerspace where people could rent out the space or do private programming. So with COVID, of course, that presents some challenges for us. Having one of the real benefits of the Makerspace is the collaboration component and the networking, working with people that are like-minded and working in similar projects. So we have adjusted some of our floor plan and the furniture that we're purchasing, and how we're going to open the space because of that. We've actually delayed the opening now probably 6 months or so to hopefully get us in a better spot with the vaccines and everything. But we're very excited about the opening and what we can bring to the community. So that's my update. I'd be happy to answer any questions or go into any further detail if you guys.
Mike, this is Wendy Davis. Can you talk a little bit about what the foundation has been able to acquire? Lori's given us such an interesting update of donations.
Yes, our foundation and our friends both have been very generous in helping us out with this project. We're trying to do this on a pretty limited budget. And so, of course, we want to provide as many options and features as we can for the community, but doing it on a budget that really fits without having to raise taxes has been a challenge. Our foundation and friends both stepped up. Our friends have purchased all of the equipment for the Makerspace, so all of those 3D printers, laser cutters, all of that stuff. They funded all of that, and then our foundation is funding all of the kitchen equipment. So all of that commercial equipment, all the furniture in there, all that stuff has been provided by our foundation. So they've both been extremely generous in helping us out with this, and have worked out. Not only have they provided money, but our foundation has worked with Driskell and ITW to get donations from them. So Driskell donated, I want to say 6 of the 12 3D printers, and then they provided us discounts on the rest of the stuff. And then our ITW provided deep discounts on all of that kitchen equipment. So all of the the stoves, the refrigerators, all that stuff is half donated from ITW, and then the rest is from the foundation.
Well, and the Cake Box donated quite a lot when they closed, and so did Praxis. They donated a lot of business equipment.
That's
So
correct.
a lot's been donated.
It has, yeah. So we've had a lot of very generous donors. You mentioned Cake Box. Cake Box is great to work with. They were closing and they said, you know, come on, take a look at what we've got. And we did put a bid on a few things, and you know, we didn't get a whole lot in the actual bid, but they were very generous and gave us a bunch of kitchen equipment afterwards. So we're very appreciative to them. And then Praxis, which was a design firm on the north side of town, they were moving their offices and they said, come on in and you guys are welcome to whatever we have left here. And they provided a ton of furniture, storage, all kinds of stuff. So we've been extremely fortunate in the relationships that our foundation really has helped build and reached out to help us furnish the space.
I had a quick question about age requirements or age restrictions.
Yeah, so we're going to have the age requirements similar to our studios. So we're restricting it. I believe it's 12 and under need to be accompanied by an adult. And so very similar to how we have our studios currently in the main library.
Mike, I've got a question. On one of your early slides, I think it was the slide with the 3D printer in the upper left. In the upper right was what looked like a Tiffany lamp.
Yes.
So how would a person create a Tiffany lamp, and was that from glass, etched glass?
I will, let me bring that back up and show you. Can you see that? Okay.
Right, that lamp in the upper right. That is beautiful.
The lamp in the upper right was actually built using a laser cutter. So all of the wood that was used for that lamp was cut on a laser cutter, and the glass was purchased and cut separately.
Very cool.
Mike?
Yeah.
How many libraries are in the nation to have something like this? This is amazing.
It really is. We're the only one that's doing a standalone makerspace, but makerspaces have become very popular in libraries. We haven't built one out in our main library because we were kind of waiting to see if this was something that was going to continue to be a trend in libraries or if it was going to taper off. And so what we've seen, makerspaces being included in libraries over the last 5 or so years, and they are gaining in popularity. And of course, with libraries, it's about education and experiences and having access to educational or experiential tools without having to purchase them yourself. And so we decided if we're going to do a makerspace, we're going to do it right. And a lot of what we've heard from other libraries is the noise and the smell and other parts of makerspaces don't exactly fit within the library building very well. And so we thought, you know, let's do this outside of our library. And when I heard that the teen center was going to be available, that's when we talked to the village about that and thought it would be a perfect fit. And so it's been great. And actually some other libraries are starting to follow suit and move their makerspaces to like retail storefronts and stuff to move them out of their libraries.
Interesting.
Mike, you mentioned the Northbrook Library. What other libraries in our area have makerspaces?
Sure. Indian Trails Library in Wheeling, they have one. They've had one for, I want to say about 3 or 4 years. Skokie, I believe, has a smaller one. Palatine is building one in their redesign. So a lot of them right around us. Barrington recently added one. So this has been, it's kind of growing, you know, more and more libraries are adding them.
Great. Any other questions for Mike? You, Tara?
So, Mike, do our school districts have any of this type of equipment? And do you think that this will compete? If they do, will this compete with the schools or enhance the programs that they have?
The schools do have this kind of equipment, and they teach a lot of their STEM curriculum on this type of. We have spoken with the districts, and we all feel that this will enhance what they're doing. Being that they only have so much machine time at the schools available, having access to this, students having access to this equipment outside of the school day will really benefit the students. So yeah, I think it's
Good to
amazing.
hear. Yeah, great.
And we're partnering with them on things as well. So
Oh, okay, that's even better.
thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.